SCP-362, a cool t-shirt. Object class, safe. Special containment procedures. SCP-362 may be sealed in a polypropylene bag and stored in an indexed box on site within Vault 2B. SCP-362 is to be stored in a polypropylene bag and kept in a standard lockbox. This lockbox is to be kept in a dedicated room with no materials pertaining to other SCPs, including handwritten and/or typed files, smartphones, PDAs, post-it notes, memos, etc. Electronic devices with access to the internet and/or on-site intranet are forbidden from entering and/or accessing said room. Containment chamber should include non-relevant books and magazines along with blank notebooks for observation purposes. Only persons possessing level 1 clearance or lower may receive authorization to enter the containment chamber and wear SCP-362, which shall be done for research purposes and for said purposes only. Dr. Data expunged and O5 data expunged possess keys unlocking SCP-362's lockbox. No other copies may be made without O5 authorization. 2 security personnel must bar access to anyone not possessing the required clearance, and at least 1 surveillance camera must monitor each of the following for both research and security purposes: exterior of chamber entryway, interior of chamber entryway, lockbox, and the chamber itself. Description: SCP-362 is a light blue t-shirt bearing the logo of Redacted, a children's Saturday morning cartoon television program popular in the late 1980s and early 90s. It is a size M, medium, with short sleeves. Its color appears to have faded and was likely a darker shade of blue. Its tag states the t-shirt is made of 100% cotton. Testing has confirmed this statement. Despite its apparent age, it is in good condition apart from said fading. Its collar and sleeves are not worn or threadbare and it has no holes or rips. Test subjects wearing SCP-362 have unanimously reported no feelings of discomfort, unease, or foreboding. 5 subjects, whose ages range from 22 to 35, have expressed what can perhaps be informally phrased as amused nostalgia upon donning SCP-362. In tests, it has been worn as briefly as 3.6 seconds, and as long as data expunged days, with a mean duration of data expunged hours. Aside from the obvious inconvenience of wearing an item of clothing longer than a few days, the test subject in each case reported normal emotional responses. Upon doffing SCP-362, its effects are immediate and almost invariable among tests, the only significant variable being the duration test subjects must endure the phenomenon before it ends. Immediately after pulling SCP-362 off over his or her head, the test subject reports several to dozens of humanoid figures suddenly appearing in the room with them. The figures appear after the instant the test subject's vision becomes obscured by the material of SCP-362 passing over the subject's eyes as it is removed. These figures present with absolutely indeterminate features. Most to all of these figures seem to fix their attention on the test subject, and unless approached will stand motionless. A test subject who moves around the test chamber will find that these figures also move, but only to keep their attention fixed on the subject and/or to avoid physical contact with the subject. These figures will go as far as to phase through the confines of the test chamber to avoid contact with any living being. The figures themselves have been variously described as blurry, mirages, and, most commonly, as shadowy or made of shadows. Often, a few of these figures will seem to take no interest in the test subject, but will instead explore their surrounding environment. They will appear to touch items, rifle through piles of paper, page through books, operate computers, etc., though recordings demonstrate that they do not actually manipulate objects in any observable way. Twice, a figure reportedly has appeared to handle and operate a device like a Geiger counter, with which the figure seemed to scan objects or take readings for the duration of the sighting. Upon review of archived episodes of Redacted, the show appears never to have referenced or depicted anything resembling the figures which have appeared to all test subjects. After experimentation, test subjects, even those who expressed eagerness and or amusement at the prospect of wearing SCP-362, express unease when prompted to discuss the show. Though these figures reveal themselves only to the test subject, do not generate significant fluctuations in sensory equipment, and fail to manipulate physical objects, it is recommended that security protocol regarding SCP-362 include vault containment with access, granted only to relevant researchers and personnel. In light of Incident SCP-362-02, and in order to avoid cross-contamination of SCPs, and prevent security breaches, no items, information, or personnel of Level 2 clearance or higher may ever be present in SCP-362's chamber prior to, during, or immediately after experimentation. Furthermore, under no circumstances may SCP-362 be worn by any person for longer than 9 days. Addendum. Immediately prior to said incident, test subject had worn SCP-362 for 31 days. As per research protocol, test subject had not been informed of the effects of doffing SCP-362. Upon removal, site data expunged experienced a containment breach which lasted data expunged minutes when primary and secondary power systems simultaneously failed. All debriefed personnel at site data expunged reported experiencing feelings of dread during the breach, many of whom were trapped in rooms without power or means of egress when fail-safe systems activated. Some personnel reported the sensation that other persons inhabited the room with them during the breach despite being alone immediately beforehand. Many personnel felt as though they were being watched. Immediately after the breach, upon restoration of secondary power, primary power took an additional data expunged minutes to come back online. Site data expunged personnel discovered files scattered, books open, and notes in disarray. Division reported that several computers and other devices had accessed data expunged. Test subject expired due to ventricular fibrillation data expunged minutes after secondary power failed. Autopsy revealed abnormally high adrenaline levels in subject's bloodstream. Authorization to upgrade SCP-362 to Euclid class pending. Interview log for experiment 362 data expunged interviewer, Dr. Data expunged with Dr. Data expunged test subject, D1022. Time: 5 minutes. Data expunged. Dr. Data expunged, please describe your surroundings. D1022, I don't know. It's like an office, I guess. Papers. Notepads. There's a box in front of me. Dr. Data expunged, is anyone in the room with you? D1022, chuckling, I thought you were watching me. Ick now, through cameras. Dr. Data expunged, we are. Is there anyone in the room with you? D1022, is there supposed to be? Ain't no one in here but me. Dr. Data expunged, thank you. Please use the key provided to open the box in front of you, then put on what you find inside. D1022, after brief silence, what? It's just a shirt. Louder, oh hell yeah, redacted? Ah man, I used to watch that show all the time. Dr. Data expunged, please put it on. D1022, sure thing. Haha, can I keep it? Dr. Data expunged, with some amusement, I'm afraid not. D1022, show was a shit. Subject sings what has been identified as the theme song of said children's program as he puts on SCP-362. D1022, okay, it's on. So what now? Dr. Data expunged, you'll receive further instructions in 5 minutes. Until then, you may busy yourself with whatever you find in the room. Subject swivels back and forth in his chair as he hums aforementioned tune. At T-3 minutes, he draws humanoid figures with a pen. Dr. Data expunged, can you tell me why you've drawn those figures? D1022, just keeping busy, like you said. Dr. Data expunged, yes, but why those particular figures? D1022, what? You're telling me you never watched Redacted? Dr. Data expunged. We've reviewed some episodes. Yes. D1022. Pointing. This is redacted. Come on, man. Don't tell me you don't see the resemblance. Doctor. Data expunged. With amusement. Oh yes, of course. It's the very likeness of him. D1022. PHFF whatever. I'm a good artist. Doctor. Data expunged. Time is up. You may remove that item of clothing. D1022. Alright. Subject removes SCP-362 over his head. The instant he can see again, D1022 stumbles backwards against the desk behind him. D1022. Oh shit. Shit. Doctor. Data expunged. What's wrong? D1022. What is this? What's going on? Doctor. Data expunged. Please describe your surroundings. D1022. Who are all these people? Doctor. Data expunged. Please describe what you see. D1022. They're watching me. They're ghosts or something. Get me out of here. Doctor. Data expunged. You are not in any danger. Please describe them in further detail. D1022. What do you want? What do you want? Subject rushes forward. D1022. You want a piece of this? Stop fucking moving. Doctor. Data expunged. You are not in any danger. Please do not attack them. Doctor. Data expunged. To Doctor. Data expunged. Inaudible to D1022. If he provokes them, maybe we'll get some new data. D1022 continues to turn and lunge at unseen opponents for 16 seconds of silence. Then, D1022. Where'd they go? Doctor. Data expunged. They're gone. Describe how they went. D1022. They just went. Just 1 minute they're there, and then what were they? D1022 begins to shiver visibly. Doctor. Data expunged. Is something wrong? Is it colder in the room? To Doctor. Data expunged. Can I get a temperature reading? Doctor. Data expunged. Overlapping. It's normal. No change. Doctor. Data expunged. D1022. Is it colder in the room than it was before? D1022. Get me out of here. I'm not telling you anything else until you let me out. Data expunged. Experiment logs. Data expunged. 362E005. Date. The 3rd of June 20. Data expunged. D2323. Recruited specifically for this experiment due to his skill at dart throwing. Wore SCP-362 for 5 minutes. After effects lasted 2 minutes and 36 seconds. During this period, D2323 was encouraged to throw darts at the figures and report verbally on results. Due to panic which D2323 experienced, subject utilized only 1 minute and 6 seconds of time available to him. Findings seem to confirm hypothesis. Based on previous experiments, figures will phase through walls, blink in and out of visibility, and or move more quickly than seems possible, in order to avoid contact with either biological objects or non-biological objects introduced into the chamber with hostile intent. Data expunged. 362E012 date. The 5th of December 20. Data expunged. 44 D-class personnel introduced into chamber prior to experimentation. Subjects became claustrophobic. Staff introduced a mild tranquilizing gas into chamber to avoid compromising the experiment. Afterward, D3197 wore SCP-362 for 5 minutes, and, during that time, led the other participants in a chorus of the television show's theme song. This appears to have been the result of introducing the gas into the chamber, and is likely not an effect of SCP-362, though further experimentation may be necessary to confirm this hypothesis. After D3197 was instructed to remove SCP-362, he reported seeing figures for approximately 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Immediately upon removal, 9 D-class personnel disappeared from the chamber. D3197 reported that, where the vanished D-class personnel had stood, the figures appeared in their place. Remaining D-class personnel exhibited signs of panic. despite lacking the ability to see the figures themselves. In order to avoid a possible containment breach due to D-class personnel overcoming the effects of the tranquilizer and causing damage to the test chamber and or each other, a paralytic agent was introduced into the room. Incident log SCP-362-03. Date, data expunged. After experiment 362E012, researchers have identified anomalous data appearing on terminals during SCP-362 experimentation. First sample located on terminal data expunged hard drive after post-experimentation scan. See experiment log for 362E013. 2 more samples generated during E014 and E015. Current hypothesis posits a correlation between missing D-class personnel and content of anomalous data. Find a sample of said data attached. For full documentation, see data expunged. I was one who sang, and one who watched the song, and now we watch the song and watch for signs. It is 2.957, it is 3.6602, it is 5.5, repeating it is 5, it is 4.3, it is 10,055,092.3, it is repeating. These are signs, there are more signs, but these are signs we have seen. When we watch the song, we see the song at all times, always. At each time we see the song we have, and duly note the sign of 3.6602 and the sign of 5.5, repeating it is repeating. These are the signs. 3.6602, 5.5, repeating, 2.9575, 4.3, 10,055,093.3. We are watching the signs at all times. We are watching then and now we duly note that we are watching. End of file.